Hey, it's Chris from the Dating Doc. It has been forever, but guess what? This video is all about rich versus wealthy. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because for those that don't know, I'm also an Army commander, and I've got too many soldiers and airmen that come off mission and they don't have any money, even though the mission that I'm on, these 20-something-year-olds, sometimes 20-year-old, are making $90,000 a year. Okay, a lot of money for someone young. So what ends up happening? They're on mission for about 2 years, 3 years, right? So if you do the math, 90,000 a year take home, right? Times 2 years, 3 years, right? Let's look at some overhead, right? Let's look at groceries. Let's look at gas, money, all that stuff. You should still come out with at least about 100,000 saved in the bank. So what's happening? I end up running into soldiers that at the end of the mission, they say, "Sir, why do I have to leave this mission? I'm broke." Right? How does this all relate to dating? Stay with me here. The way it relates to dating is there's rich, right? There's people that want to show off the newest fit, the newest car. They want to spend money on a whole bunch of DLCs, video games. Maybe they want to skip a couple levels on Elden Ring or whatever game's going on here, right? I've not played that game, by the way. And they've maxed out, right? They have no financial discipline. They're trying to impress other people. Or again, they just have no discipline and they just waste their money. And for those that are trying to show off, right, they dress in the latest kits, right, the best fit they can buy, right, whether it's a man or woman. What ends up happening is these are people that are addicted in some ways to that external validation. Meanwhile, you got someone who has been on the grind. They've been storing up that money, right? Maybe they grew up poor, maybe they saw the struggles of their family, or they understand the value of saving money, right? I'll tell you right now, I dress the way that I dress, okay? I'm 44 years old, I make good money, okay? But I don't show it, okay? What I mean by that is I'm not gonna dress like a total bum, but at the same time, there's no reason for me to waste money on clothes that within a year or two, they're so niche when it comes to fashion, right? So there's a specific color, specific style that 2 years from now, it's gone, right? It was a waste, and I've got to go to some sort of secondhand vintage store and try to get part of my money back, right? Or just get new clothes. To me personally, okay, no offense on how you use your money, but I think that's an unwise investment. It's not even an investment. I personally never buy a new car. I always buy used, right? Even if it's a year or two old, because as you know, once you take it off the parking lot, it's depreciated in value. I say all this because if you are a gentleman or woman that's living a minimalist life and you're trying to save up money, you're maxing out your IRA, you're putting some money into an active stock trade that you're watching that's growing, continue doing that. Continue living that authentic life. And this is the point I want to make of this entire video. That's rich, is being stuck in this whole loop of validation and trying to flex on people. True wealth is focused on a value system. True wealth means it requires discipline. It requires you to put your money away. It requires you to live a life that's a lot more authentic, a lot more real. Because now, when you go into a date and ask what do you do for a living, a lot of it's to gauge how much money are you making, how much are you keeping. That needs to become part of your talking point when it comes to your first date. Okay, if you're a woman, don't ask what do you do for a living. Just ask, hey, if you don't mind me asking, like, what do you like to spend your money on or invest? Okay, are you into hobbies? Are you an investment nerd, right? And to get them into that same conversation, say, well, I kind of nerd out on investments. I'm saving up for a house. I'm saving up for my future family. Find that compatibility instead of what do you do for a living? What do you do to make you keep on living, right? As in securing the future. Gentlemen, now I flip it around. If you're on a date and you're a minimalist, you're an investor, you don't have to have the most expensive clothes because you have a target in mind. You can say, well, this is what I do for a living. But more importantly, I actually am kind of a nerd, right? You downplay it. Kind of a nerd about my savings account. I like to put money down for a second property that I'm investing in. And I'm not the kind of guy that's going to be dressed up like a fashionista all the time. You could poke fun at your own humility, right? And the woman will do one of two things. Either she's juvenile in her thinking and she's wondering why you're not dressed to the nine, why you're not spending the most expensive steak or spending on the most expensive wine bottle. That's short-sighted mentality. That's incompatible. Now, if a woman is impressed by the fact that you generally are trying to build a future with or without her, that's true masculinity, that's true value. So at the beginning of this whole video, I talked about these manly men. Women do it as well. They waste their money on fashion and makeup, and then they have nothing saved in the bank. Flexing is fake, right? Rich, that's okay. Wealthy equals worthiness, right? Excuse my little accent here. Wealth equals worthiness. You're worthy, okay? You know for a fact you're comfortable in your own skin and you're building a future, okay? So for those in the 20s, 30s, 40s, beyond, and you're focused about how much someone makes, focus on what they keep. To me, that's true wealth.